وەرجێڕێکی ئەفغانی ئاشکرایەکی کە سەدان ئەفغانی پەنابەری ئەفغانی کە لە وڵاتی بریتانیا مافی مانەوەیان هەیە گەڕاونەتەوە بۆ ئەفغانستان بۆ پشووی هاوینە. بەناوی خوای گەورە هیوادارم هەمولاکتان باش لە ساخ وەکو دەزان کە لە ساڵی 2021 لە مانگی 8دا تالیبان هاتە سەر حکم بە هەزاران ئەفغانی هێنرایە وڵاتی بەریتانیاوانێ بەبێ ئەوەی کەوا هیچ چاپێکەوتنیان کرێ و ڕاستەخۆ جوابیان دانێ کەسی وایتیایە 15 کەسی لە خێزانەکەی هێناوە لە چاپێکەوتنێکە لە کەناڵی سکای نیوز لەگەڵ وەرجێڕێکی ئەفغانیدا ئەوەی ئاشکرا کردوانی کەەوە هاتوونەتە وڵاتی بریتانیا وەکو پەنابەر گەڕاونەتەوانێ بۆ پشووی هاوینە بۆ ئەفغانستان. خۆتان بینەری ڤیدۆکە بن کە بە ژێرنووسی کوردی بەژیری دەستکرد ڕەنگە هەندێک شتی هەڵە بێ بگورن بۆتاندانم کە بزانن تەواوی چیرۆکە چۆنیە بینەر.
Chaos in Kabul as Afghanistan's Western-backed government collapsed in 2021. In crisis mode, the UK and other allies scrambled to get Afghans who'd worked with them out of the country. The fear was they'd be persecuted or even killed by the Taliban as it returned to power. But are some people playing the system when it comes to Afghan relocation? Over 35,000 Afghans have been moved to the UK under various schemes. We spoke to one former interpreter, also living in Britain, who has direct knowledge of how applications for relocation were processed. He says he's aware of hundreds of Afghans who've gone back to their home country for holidays and other trips, despite having been resettled in the UK for their own safety.
There's hundreds of them going in, coming back, so they freely go, come in, come back again.
And what do you think of that?
It made me disappointed because people believed there was a high threat to the interpreters.
Our source also claims some of the tens of thousands of Afghans who applied for help from Britain exaggerated the danger they faced, including with allegedly fake Taliban threat letters.
So the letter, in your mind, it's more of a convenient piece of evidence for someone wanting to show that they're under threat?
Correct. This is very traditional, making fake intimidation letters, fake documents to make legitimate their pathway to come to the UK.
Here's another former interpreter who was relocated to the UK, having worked with British forces in Afghanistan. But this summer, he posted pictures of himself outside the airport in Kabul and spending time near the capital with friends. Now back in Britain again, he told us he'd made the journey with his mother for a funeral and says he'd felt under threat.
I was too worried because I work with the British forces in Afghanistan as interpreter. I went to so secret. When I went to some location, I never released my information with someone.
But your social media posts that you did, it clearly shows you say where you are in Afghanistan, so it doesn't look as though you're being very secret.
Yes.
So did you feel quite safe?
Yes, because no one have access in Afghanistan my social media like that, just my friends.
But only after this phone call did he make his Facebook posts private. A person's role working with or alongside British forces in Afghanistan was key to qualify for the UK's main resettlement scheme, rather than evidence of any threat. But a major data breach involving the names of nearly 19,000 Afghans applying for the programme meant the eligibility rules were loosened amid fear more lives were at risk. Everyone invited to Britain can bring their spouse and children. But our source claims this offer was exploited.
A vehicle mechanic who's now living in Manchester brought about 15 members of his family. He brought his 2 sons who already got married and their kids. There was no risk at all for them.
Are we seen, because we've got this scheme that's let in so many people, are we seen as kind of gullible?
Yeah.
Easily exploited?
Easily exploited, taking benefit of the programmes.
A Ministry of Defence spokesperson said, "We are committed to honouring the moral obligation we owe to those Afghans who stood with our brave men and women. As with all those arriving to the UK, anyone found eligible for relocation from Afghanistan and their family members undergo robust security checks, including for national security. If they don't pass these checks, they are not granted entry to the UK. Deborah Haynes, Sky News.